Hello, Sharkunel here again. Tonight I am presenting the next in my series of interviews with local PvP organizers and top PvP players. Tonight's guest is Melgood711, who is a local PvP uh, participant and also the Silph Road Ranger for not only Pittsburgh but all of Pennsylvania. We're going to be discussing her personal background with Pokemon Go, as well as a lot of the Silph Road initiatives that she has participated in and helped organize here in Pittsburgh. Before we begin, I'd like to ask that you like and subscribe to this video and channel if you're interested in this sort of content. And without further ado, here is the interview. Welcome. I am joined tonight by Melgood711, Pokemon player, PvPer, community organizer, Silph Road Ranger. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's get started the way I've been starting all of these. Tell us a little bit about your personal history with Pokemon Go, how you got into it. I know you told me when we were talking about this before that you played Ingress before Pokemon Go. So give us the short version of that history.
I played Ingress before Pokemon Go was even a thing. Um, I am on the Resistance, the blue team.
That means nothing
And
to me.
I picked that up. And then when I found out Pokemon Go was going to be a thing, played Ingress more because figured the mechanics would be similar since it was coming from Niantic. And then because we played Ingress, my husband and I got invited to join the beta for Pokemon Go and have been playing ever since.
I don't know
And
anybody else who's played in the beta. How long was the beta? I started the at launch, but I know nothing about what the beta was like.
the beta was like a month, maybe. It was really short, was not what I was expecting at all. Um, I figured it'd be a little bit longer than that, but they apparently felt pretty ready. But they kind of did everything through Google Plus, RIP. And, and so like we had like a secret like chat where we could go and like give feedback and like make suggestions and they sent you free coins every day, which I miss getting free coins every day. So that way you could try out all the different items and things. And it was just like a free for all. Like go ahead, play the game, test things out, try new things, explore places.
Was it buggy?
Um, Extremely. I remember the day they closed the beta, them saying, "Hey, we're closing the beta," and I had like just submitted a bug report like a couple of hours prior to that, and was like, "Okay, sure." So they clearly weren't ready for the sheer number of people who were going to be playing the game. So that definitely made things interesting. But like the team leaders didn't have like names or anything like that, or and like they didn't have like a face. So it was just like pick yellow, blue, or red, and I'm like, I don't know, what are these? Sure. So it was definitely different and interesting, but a lot of fun. I remember opening it up the first time, and of course it's in like AR mode automatically, and so like you see your starter Pokemon sitting there, and you click on it, and all of a sudden it's there on your screen. I just remember being so excited about that, and that was so cool to me to be able to
Yeah,
experience.
I was at a restaurant and I had my starter Pokemon sitting on the table at the restaurant, which was kind of strange. Uh, I feel compelled to reveal that you and I had a shared ordeal the first time we met, which was during the Twilight Cup at the South Hills tournament.
Yeah.
We faced each other in the third round
Mm-hmm.
and had a very tough battle.
Yes.
And then after that, we both were kind of like breathing a sigh of relief after we fought a hard three-game battle and started sharing our strategies and techniques. And then the Silph thing flipped over, and we I think we both thought it was an error because we had each other's name again, and we had both shared our strategy secrets, and we looked at each other like, okay, we have to fight each other again. Uh, because through whatever quirk in the pairing system, we had to battle in both the third and the fourth rounds, and that was, shall we say, grueling.
Yes. Oh, yes. And it was a mind game too, because it was like, okay, I just shared all of my strategy. Does that
So now
apply now?
what?
Does it what I don't and I was that was a long day. It was there was a research day that day, I think.
And that was the
And
day I had done three tournaments in one day.
right. So it was just like grueling 6 o'clock tournament, and we're just like, I have no idea. I'm just gonna try this again and see what happens.
Well, we survived it. Uh,
Yeah.
well, I wanna switch a little bit to asking you about the Silph Road and your status as a Silph Road Ranger and what that entails. But since some of the intended target for audience, hopefully for this YouTube channel, is folks who play Pokemon Go but might not yet be into PvP or haven't done a tournament yet, start with what the Silph Road is.
So the Silph Road is an organization to help the greater Pokemon Go community coordinate efforts and create memories and experiences through the game. It kind of started out originally as a grassroots organization to help facilitate trading for when it happened, but trading did not roll out as anticipated. And so that kind of morphed and changed. So really, the Silph Road has like four main pillars now. The Reddit page where you find tons of breaking news
Yeah.
and um, a lot of the research then from the Silph Research Group gets posted onto the Reddit page. And there's a dedicated Silph Research team doing all kinds of research into the mechanics of the game. The Silph League, which is to help connect different communities across the globe who are all doing Pokemon Go things. And then the newest edition, the Silph Arena, which is to help globally coordinate a competitive scene for PvP.
I can't imagine the uh, task of trying to coordinate all that and come up with the software and the systems to coordinate all the tournaments and the player rankings. Um, Obviously, certain parts of the PvP community are waiting with bated breath for the player rankings, and we're all kind of talking in back channels about who's going to get the invite. Is it is it me? Is it you? Is it who's going to be number one? Who's going to be number two? So we're all very excited to see the rankings coming out.
Yes, I am too.
Uh, and I won't grill you about the specifics of the rankings and how that's going to work. I assume you don't know the secrets.
I don't know the secret sauce. They won't tell me.
Well, what is your position within the Silph Road? You're a ranger. What does that mean?
I'm a ranger, so I oversee the entire state of Pennsylvania. So my job is recruiting guides who are like the local boots on the ground, like tools and resources and assets to local communities, so they can help communities in their area with Silph resources, helping push things like the Nest Atlas and Silph Arena and all the tools and things that we have available for communities. And so I oversee guides and make sure everything is happening.
So would that be people like specific to the arena and the tournaments? Would that be people like, say, Allie, who we both know, who has been hosting some of the tournaments in the West Hills region? Would she be working with Silph Road to do that?
Well, so there's with Silph Arena, there's even more additional kind of layers. And so guides are officially on like the leadership team and kind of do all Silph Road related things. And then step down from that is all the community admins and leaders who are helping to organize things like community day meetups and some of these Silph Arena tournaments. And then it kind of breaks down from there. You have your community leads who are handling all of the community day related things. And then you have tournament organizers like Allie,
Okay.
who are handling the Silph Arena side of things. So there's all kinds of different bits and pieces and layers to the Silph Road, and I think that's what makes it so cool. Is there's a dedicated group of volunteers who are doing some of the behind the scenes things, but really it's all about connecting the communities and the leaders in these communities to give them resources and tools to do awesome things with the game that we all have come to love.
Oh, I didn't even realize the complexity that was going on. You say you're the ranger for the whole state of Pennsylvania. Do you know roughly like how many different communities there are? Like, I I play essentially in the Pittsburgh Pokemon Go region, and we have the Discord channel, and I assume there's thousands of people in this region who are participating in that way at various levels, maybe just coordinating raids, and some people doing PvP and all sorts of community day stuff too. But I don't really have any exposure to any other communities to get an idea of the scope of it. So in your position, do you know like how many communities there are around Pennsylvania?
I don't have an exact number, but there's several hundred in just Pennsylvania alone.
Wow, wow.
And those are just the communities that are on the Silph League map. There are tons of communities that are using Facebook or have group chats or using
So it
all
doesn't
kinds
have
of.
to go through a Discord channel.
Yeah, so the Silph League map right now facilitates Discord servers and Telegrams. So those
What is Telegram? Is that
Yeah,
another service
Telegram's
like
like
this?
another type of
Okay.
chat service, kind of like Discord. They're similar. Um, but I know they're working with the Silph League team to try and expand and build some additional support for communities that aren't using those resources as well. So that's definitely on the roadmap
I see.
coming in the future, which is really cool because we know there's communities that use a Facebook group chat. I know my mom plays, and her community uses a Facebook group chat because they're pretty small. They don't need hundreds of channels for things. They just kind of are like, hey, there's a raid over there. Are you guys going? So it depends on how big the community is and how big your group is, and so we're looking to kind of expand more too. But yeah, just in Pennsylvania alone, there's several hundred servers, so
Wow.
that's pretty cool.
Uh, Now, is there some affiliation between the Silph Road and Niantic? I watched some of the YouTubes and I've seen Trainer Tips video about recent meetings out in San Francisco at the Niantic offices, and it looked like people representing the Silph Road were there. Is that the extent of the connection to your knowledge, or is
Yeah,
there are
that's
there
as
larger
far as I
connections?
know. The execs are kind of that's their thing. um, the same sort of relationship I think with Niantic exists in the Ingress community too.
Okay.
A lot of the Ingress events and things they really coordinate on a local level with players, and so I think that the YouTubers and the Silph execs and people like that, I think that's Niantic's attempt to try and create and foster some of that in Pokemon Go.
Do you have a sense of talking specifically now about the Pittsburgh Pokemon Go community? I've talked to two other people now who are involved in PvP, and by my calculations, there have been in excess of uh, talking specifically about PvP now, at least 20 or more tournaments. Do you have any sense of where Pittsburgh stacks up against other uh, urban communities around the country in terms of the extent of tournament activity or participation in PvP? Because one of the things I'm trying to do with this channel is foster more participation in PvP. So, what do you know of anything about how we stack up against other communities in terms of PvP participation?
I feel like the majority of people that I've talked to are kind of on the same level as the Pittsburgh community. Um, there's some general interest, but it's still building. It's all still very new. The Silph Arena is still new, and seeing how things work and play out. I think people are still kind of learning and growing with it. There are places that are having bigger tournaments, but there are also places that are having smaller tournaments too. So, um, I'd say we're on par with most communities at this point. But we definitely are seeing a lot of growth in our area too, which I think is exciting. We actually put in a bid for regionals, so fingers crossed that maybe there'll be a regional tournament here in Pittsburgh. And so when we were doing that, we
Knocking
were
on
looking
wood.
through all the old tournaments and seeing how things were stacking up. And there's definitely growth there, which is exciting. So, it's not just the same people coming every single month to these tournaments. There's new people showing up every time. And so that's really cool and exciting too.
I'm going to be very interested to see once the global player rankings and the regional player rankings are released, how that affects participation. Um, I suppose it could go two directions. It could spur a lot of additional interest and bring more people in. But I could also see it might discourage some people thinking, well, I'm not high up on the rankings, so what's the point? I don't think that's necessarily the point of it, although I'm excited about the rankings. I want to see where I rank. I hope I'm up near the top, but I don't know. Uh, but I don't think that would necessarily discourage me from wanting to come out to a tournament. Um, I've asked each of the people who I've talked to on this channel so far one particular question, and I'll ask you the same thing. What would you tell to a Pokemon Go player in our area, somebody who likes the game, who might have some interest in PvP, but who hasn't come out to a tournament, who might be a little intimidated or just hasn't taken that step to come out to a tournament yet? What would you tell that person about uh, why they should do it?
It's a really fun and interesting way to connect with the community. That's the one thing that really keeps me playing Pokemon Go every day is the community. I love this community. They're incredible. Um, Being Silph Road Ranger, I get to see the inner workings of a lot of other communities. And not that I'm biased or anything, but Pittsburgh is a pretty great place to play Pokemon. All the people here are friendly and awesome and welcoming and inviting. And they don't care if you've never played PvP before or if you are the best of the best. They're going to have a good time with you no matter what. And I'm not very good at PvP. I
Well,
try my best.
that's not true.
But I'm not, wouldn't consider myself a top player either, but I have fun. And I think that's the most important thing to me is having fun playing this game and having a good community to play this game with. And I think that PvP has brought out a lot of people that are new and different that I haven't met before. And so I'm meeting new people too,
Well, yeah,
which
I never met you until we showed up at a tournament. I must tell you, I have been very pleasantly surprised. I've never done any sort of competitive gaming. Uh, I don't play Halo. I don't do online games like that. I years ago I played Magic the Gathering, but just with my friends, never to go out to a tournament or anything. This is the first time I have ever kind of gone to any type of a competition or a tournament, and I was sort of nervous the first time I went. Like, you see these YouTube videos of these people playing Madden and going crazy and the esports stuff, and it's sort of bewildering. But I was just stunned at just how cool everybody was and how it was not some sort of weird high pressure environment. It was just a bunch of people playing Pokemon Go, and nobody was trying to intimidate anybody or anything. So I've had a lot of fun. I mean, that's why I'm doing this YouTube channel. I want to try to get more people out. So uh, I just think it's a great time.
I agree.
Um, Check my notes and see if I have anything else. Oh, I wanted to ask you about a particular event that you have scheduled that I think you're going to be hosting this upcoming Saturday. I'm going to try to get this video out tonight if I can. Tell us about the, what's it called? The
The
catch and
catching
compete?
tournament.
Yes.
Yes. So I actually I borrowed this idea from another Silph community. They posted their tournament with these rules in the Silph League server, and I was like, "Hey, that's a really cool and fun way to get people to come and try out a tournament." So the way a catch and compete tournament works is pretty simple. You show up and you catch Pokemon for about a half hour, and then you make a team with the Pokemon you've caught. There's no powering up Pokemon, there's no evolving Pokemon, there's no using TMs, no raid bosses, no hatched Pokemon, just what you're catching in the wild. You can collect research tasks and get Pokemon that way. That's fine. But it's about catching a Pokemon right here, right now, and then using that to build a team.
Now, is this
Um,
a Great League tournament?
yes, this is a Great League tournament.
So if you catch
Don't want
that
to put
2500
any
CP,
pressure.
whatever, it's not.
Yes, so it'll be a fun time. It's no pressure because there's no like investment ahead of time. There's no Stardust requirements. Don't worry about your TMs. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just show up, find some Pokemon, and try to pull together a team to see what you can do.
Well,
Um,
tell us exactly where and when this is happening.
so we are meeting at Point State Park at noon on Saturday before Community Day. It looks like the weather is going to be great, so hopefully no backup location, but we do have a backup place in case it rains. But yeah, we'll be at Point State Park, probably like right at the top of the park there as like a meeting point. We'll catch for about a half hour. I'll give everyone a little bit of time to make their teams, and then we'll be off.
So we will just battle right there at Point State Park then.
Yes,
All
yeah,
right.
that's out in the open, enjoy the beautiful weather now, finally.
Well, I plan to be there, and I plan to bring my iPhone and grab some video and do a recap video. So hopefully, I see as many people as possible out there on Saturday. I think it'll be a fun time.
Yes, hope to see all of you there.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me. I don't think I had anything else I wanted to go over. I like to keep these videos short and sweet. So, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for all your efforts at community organizing and providing some of the fun that I've had.
Well, thanks for having me, and I hope everyone comes out and tries some PvP soon.
Me too. Okay, and that ends this interview. I want to thank Melgood once again for joining me and giving us all that interesting information. And remind you before bringing this to a close to please like and subscribe. I intend to produce more videos like this one with interviews of interesting folks from the Pittsburgh PvP scene and recaps of events plus training videos for upcoming Silph Cups. Thanks again for watching.